Welcome to NTD China News. I'm Karen Chang. Making headlines this Friday, May 3rd. Why lawmakers are asking this Australian university to take back an honorary title for China's former Vice Health Minister. The sex tape scandal from China's Chongqing megacity enters its next stage. And as trust falls in state-run media, Chinese authorities are taking aim at information spread online. China's former health minister Huang Jiefu was the man in charge of the country's booming organ transplant industry. He received part of his training overseas, in Australia, and even received an honorary professorship there. But with information coming to light that Huang may have been involved in illegal forced organ harvesting of prisoners of conscience, many in Australia want his honorary title to be stripped.
A group of academics, doctors and lawyers petitioned Sydney University this week to revoke the honorary professorship given to a Chinese transplant surgeon, Huang Jiefu. He's involved in China's controversial organ transplant system, where most of the organs are taken from prisoners while they are still alive and are killed in the process. Sydney University has defended its decision to honour Huang Jiefu, praising his efforts to reform the organ transplant system in China. But one academic at Sydney University, Maria Fetteroni Singh, decided to petition the university.
I don't know why the University of Sydney continues to support him. I think it's because they don't want to admit that they made a mistake in giving him these honorary professorships.
She says it's not good enough for Huang Jiefu to give lip service to reforming the practice of killing prisoners for their organs.
He could say, the system is corrupt, I don't want to be a part of it, so I can't stop it, I can't affect change, but I'm not going to physically kill a prisoner and take his liver and put it into someone else. He's never done that.
She also described some of the methods used to take organs from live people in China's transplant industry.
Formerly, China used to execute prisoners by a gunshot to the heart or to the head.
They found that method did not preserve the organs well enough.
So they developed a different method whereby the person was anesthetized, essentially, but they were still alive, and the organs were still being perfused just as they would if the person was awake. Gives the surgeon time to take out all of the organs that they want to.
Having a bank of people in secret prisons already blood and tissue typed means a match is found very quickly.
The executions are timed for the recipient's arrival in the country at the transplant site. So when the person arrives, a match donor, so-called, is found, and that's the day the execution is scheduled.
New South Wales member of Legislative Council David Shoebridge co-signed the petition.
This is a man who, for more than a decade, day in, day out, transplanted the livers of executed prisoners without consent. That would be a crime in Australia, it would be a crime in New South Wales.
Maria Fetteroni Singh says Huang Jiefu trained in Australia as a transplant surgeon. He returned to China and has carried out transplants continuously since then.
By his own admission, he continues to do about 2 liver transplants every week. So, using his own figures, in his own words, 90 livers essentially per year would have to come from an executed prisoner.
Huang Jiefu, who until recently was Vice Minister for Health in China, now oversees the Organ Transplant Committee in China.
Those prison camps in China also contain prisoners of conscience. Many studies have shown, particularly those of David Mattis and David Kilgore, that those prisoners of conscience are used as a pool of people from which to extract organs for their Chinese transplant system, and that is utterly unacceptable, a gross breach of human rights, and should be condemned.
Human rights lawyer David Matas, who co-wrote Bloody Harvest, an expose of the illicit Chinese organ transplant system, also signed the petition, calling Huang Jiefu unethical and not deserving of the university honours. NTD News, Sydney, Australia.
Last November, an explosive sex tape appeared on Chinese internet involving a former official in southwestern Chongqing. He's now being charged with corruption, but the other person in the case, the woman who was just 18 years old and coached into sleeping with the official, could be facing years in prison.
Corruption, sex, and blackmail. The sex tape scandal that erupted on Chinese internet last November has entered its next chapter. State-run media today reported that the man at the center of it all, former Chongqing official Lei Zhengfu, has now been charged with corruption. There are no details about the charges. Xinhua only said police have finished their investigation. A video of Lei in bed with a woman was leaked online last year. The woman, Zhao Hongxia, was allegedly part of a honey trap set up by former Chongqing developer Xiao Ye. The developer is alleged to have used Zhao and other women to lure officials, then used sex tapes to extort favorable contracts. After the scandal broke, Zhao claimed to be a victim herself. Just 18 years old when these trysts happened in 2007, Zhao, now a married mother of one, says she was naive to work with Xiao Ye. Chinese netizens are sympathizing with Zhao. Some joke that she's a leading anti-corruption fighter. But Zhao is now facing extortion charges and could face several years in jail if convicted. Lei Zhengfu was sacked soon after whistleblower reporter Zhu Ruifeng leaked the sex tapes online. Zhu had reported that Chongqing's former police chief Wang Lijun knew about the extortion cases back when it happened, but did not pursue the case. 10 other officials from the government and state-owned companies were also sacked in relation to the scandal in January.
Chinese internet has become almost synonymous with censorship, and the Chinese regime says it's now cracking down on internet rumors. This comes after 2 people allegedly spread rumors about the new bird flu cases in Guizhou province.
The Chinese regime is again cracking down on what it calls internet rumors. According to China's State Information Office, the campaign is to prevent malicious rumors that, quote, harm the credibility of online media. As trust in state-run media wanes and the rise of the internet brings more people online, some say this is a government ploy to maintain control of information.
The Communist Party keeps losing ground on the internet. People only believe things online now rather than its media.
Chinese media says that 3 people were detained in April for spreading online rumors about the H7N9 bird flu in Guiyang, the capital of Guizhou. They were later released. While rumors do spread on Chinese internet, some are worried that genuine claims, especially relating to the Chinese regime, may also be caught in the censorship sweep.
Rumors may not always be fake or defamatory. Usually they're not yet verified. Why did the notice talk about the big names? Because people will make up their own mind to decide how credible this source is.
The new campaign will target users posting rumors, false images, and those with a large following who ask for rumors to be verified. The new measures come after the Chinese regime made netizens register their real names on popular social media accounts. The implementation of that law has been spotty, but signals a tightening on internet censorship. On March 31st, popular Tencent and Sina Weibo microblogs shut down their comments features for several days after being reprimanded for allowing rumors to spread.
And coming up after the break, more bad debt and non-performing loans for Chinese banks. And fine arts enthusiasts impressed by Shen Yun in Louisville, Kentucky. And welcome back. This week, China posted a disappointing manufacturing output figure, surprising many economic observers. The sluggish economy is having an impact on the banking industry, as more and more companies become unable to repay their loans.
There are more worrying signs for China's economy. State-run China Daily reported today that China's major banks have recorded a rise in bad loans in the first quarter of this year. Out of China's 16 listed banks, outstanding bad loans totaled 424 billion yuan at the end of March. That's more than $68.8 billion. During the first quarter of this year, there were also 3.5 billion in new non-performing loans, bringing the total to almost $85 billion. This is 20% more than the same time last year, and the amount has risen for 6 quarters in a row. Bad loans and non-performing loans arise from businesses that borrow funds but are unable to repay them, primarily because of poor performance. In April, Lu Zhengwei, chief economist of China's Industrial Bank, said most of the defaults came from poorly funded companies in the solar, steel, and shipbuilding industries. The data coincides with new figures released this week showing a worse-than-expected manufacturing growth. The Purchasing Managers Index took observers by surprise and reflected lower numbers of new production and export orders. At the end of April, China's top leaders issued a rare warning against, quote, potential risks in the financial sectors. There have been growing concerns that lending in the Chinese economy may be fueling a debt crisis, with debt-laden companies and local governments unable to make repayments.
China is the largest producer of solar panels in the world, thanks to generous government incentives. But this has created a massive oversupply, leading to complaints from Europe and the US that Chinese companies are violating trade rules by exporting solar panels below cost.
It's probably going to earn the scorn of Beijing. EU's trade chief will reportedly recommend punitive import duties on Chinese-made solar panels. Reuters reported today that EU's Trade Commissioner Karel de Gucht is set to make that announcement next Wednesday in Brussels. This will affect billions of euros on imports and is geared at protecting European producers. But it's a delicate balancing act. The European Union is struggling to haul itself out of the recession, and this move against cheap imports may help. But China is also the EU's second largest trading partner. China surprised everyone by not only becoming a major player in green technology, but expanding production so much that between 2009 and 2011, the country made more than the entire global demand for solar panels. But this oversupply has flooded the market, dragging down prices and slashing profit margins. The United States imposed similar levies against Chinese-made solar panels last year, also citing a massive oversupply created by China's entry into the market. The EU Trade Commission's upcoming decision follows an investigation launched last September, when a group of European solar panel makers lodged a complaint that Chinese producers had an unfair advantage because of subsidies provided by the Chinese regime.
What's on tap? That's what Chinese people are asking about their water. For years, people have favored bottled drinking water because they're usually perceived to be better quality. But now that may be changing as the actual quality standards for water come under the spotlight.
Apparently, China still follows old Soviet Union quality standards for bottled water. That's according to a report yesterday by the Beijing News. That means that Chinese tap water actually has to meet higher standards than bottled water. Tap water must meet 106 different quality checks, but only 20 for bottled water, the Beijing News report said. State media defended the difference, saying that bottled water regulations cover more varieties of water, and there are regulations at both the national and local levels.
The bottled water standards are indeed old, but there's not a suitable standard yet. Last year, the state published stricter tap water standards with reference to the developed countries.
Those international standards were put into place by the World Health Organization. The report has sent shockwaves throughout China. The bottled water business has been growing as Chinese consumers are wary after years of food safety scandals. And China has some of the worst water pollution in the world. That's why some Chinese say the water processing plants in China are more like chemical plants.
Europe and the US have over 100 standards for any kind of drinking water. We in China cannot do this. There are no conditions for this. Like in our location, there are around 40 standards, and even these cannot be met. Maybe in places such as Beijing and Shenzhen, they have more standards and requirements.
The Beijing News report follows a few weeks after a similar report by their main competitor, the Beijing Times. That report specifically targeted the bottled water company Nongfu Spring. The company has denied the allegations, saying in a microblog post that those were rumors created by a competitor trying to damage their business. If that's the case, it seems to have worked. Nongfu Spring has reported a dramatic drop in sales since the exposé. This isn't the first time a critical spotlight has been cast on China's bottled water industry. In 2011, authorities halted the sale of 31 brands after colonies of bacteria were discovered in randomly chosen samples.
And that's all for this broadcast of NTD China News. For more of our China content, visit our website at ntd.tv or subscribe to our YouTube channel, NTD on China. Coming up next is this week's episode of Discovering China. Stay tuned.